My name is Alon Rozen. I am the Dean, CEO, and Professor of Innovation at École des Ponts Business School here in Paris, France. We are the business school of the very well-known French elite engineering school known as the École Nationale des Ponts et Chaussées, which is a little bit tough to say, so we just say ENPC. The vision is simple but ambitious. The idea is to prepare leaders who can navigate a world where technology and human values are inseparable. What is interesting is that we designed the LeadTech program with the ADA Business School in Barcelona and École des Ponts here in Paris right before COVID. We saw the world was changing fast and technology was changing faster, how we actually do business. So we started with a blank page and we asked ourselves, if we started today, what would an ideal MBA look like? So we realized the right MBA for today's world is one in which participants can quickly benefit from leadership development with emerging tech awareness and integration. All right, but there is a nuance there. The goal isn't to teach management or technology in isolation, but really to shape leaders who can integrate both, and so that they can use innovation responsibly and make a positive impact on business, on people, and on the planet. Our thinking is that leadership without technology and technologists without leadership skills is a recipe for disaster. We believe that blending the two is the ultimate career booster, which is what an MBA is for, and especially adapted for the very complex and increasingly complex world that we're all living in. Bridging the gap between leadership and technology skills is really vital. I think for the first time since the internet revolution we all saw in 1999, we can clearly see how technology is driving extremely rapid change in every single industry. But success still depends on people. Too often leaders don't really understand the tech deeply enough, and the tech experts struggle with leadership skills. That's a real gap that creates friction and sometimes failure. The LeadTech Executive MBA is really kind of designed to bridge this gap, so participants become leaders who can inspire teams while also making these smart technology-driven decisions. It's kind of like being fluent in both languages, the human leadership language and the language of technological innovation. First of all, we have to be clear, this approach is highly relevant to every single business or organization I can think of. I mean, from finance to healthcare, logistics to consumer goods, and even government, the public sector, and even nonprofits and NGOs. Every single sector is going through some form of digital transformation. But the industries where we see the biggest needs are those being disrupted the fastest. We see telecom, fintech, healthcare, corporate services like consulting and legal, and of course, energy. And I'd say any business that's being affected by AI today. So I think that's mostly all of them. What's exciting is that LeadTech cohorts come from all of these industries and from all geographies. So this creates a lot of powerful cross-pollination of ideas and real-life use cases and experiences. Our heritage as a business school is really that of our mother school. The NPC, as I mentioned, is one of France's elite engineering schools. And so encountering professionals that are strong in tech and engineering and even scientific skills is something we're quite familiar with. And so one could say that the LeadTech program is really optimal both for tech experts and those who need to work in collaboration with tech experts. And the LeadTech is really designed to be very hands-on. We put participants into a whole range of real-world leadership situations, like corporate challenges, something we call startup boot camps, where they create startups and the innovation challenges. And we also take them on international learning expeditions We give them live cases, and we give them the opportunities to meet up close and personally with founders and experts who are both living the disruptions and making those disruptions happen, something that most people just read about. So what they're doing here, I guess, is practicing leading teams under pressure, like it is in the real world. They get executive coaching. So that's another big part, is learning to work with the coach and experiencing that side of leadership. And they develop the skills and the tools relative to emotional intelligence, to communication, storytelling, and public narrative, and the whole kind of constellation around authentic leadership. And for most tech experts, this is like really transformational. You come in with technical know-how, and you leave with the ability to like inspire, influence, and mobilize the people and teams around you. That's magic. I would say there are like 3 essential leadership qualities that stand out for today's world and that we're trying to bake into the program. I would say first would be adaptability. I think we all see that. Authenticity, number 2, and vision, I would say, is number 3. So if I unpack all 3 of those, I would say adaptability. The pace of change today is just relentless. You think about how AI has changed just in the last 6 months alone, and how it is impacting business every day. And I don't think we have to talk too much about that, but adaptability is a big one. The second one, I would say authenticity. People really want leaders they can trust. People are looking for purpose in their professional and their personal lives. And if you can't trust the leader, really the purpose is besides the point. I think now that we have Generation Z and Generation Alpha entering the workforce, these generations are much less tolerant of managers and leadership that are not trustworthy than their grandparents and parents were or are. And so trust and authenticity go hand in hand there. Vision, I would say today we're all faced with more uncertainty, and there's so much going around and on in the world that teams are looking for leaders who can point the way forward in a convincing manner. So the story has to be clear, it has to be good, and it has to be convincing. And to double click, it has to be authentic. Tech is an enabler, it is an accelerator, it is a disruptor, but beyond all of the technology, it is these very human leadership qualities that will determine whether innovation succeeds or fails, and whether the whole organization can move forward together. Well, first, let me say that there's digital transformation together with something we think of as the responsible transformation. So we see both happening at the same time. Here in the LeadTech program, we really combine this tech immersion, so learning about AI, blockchain, digital innovation, AI, and we're doing all that with like very hands-on projects where you apply these tools to real business challenges, to your own learning. And we also add to that these study trips, learning expeditions to Silicon Valley and Singapore, where you actually meet the people who are global innovators, meet the disruptors, you get to see the disruptions, up close and personal. And so you get a whole learning journey that's both cutting edge and very practical. I mean, the idea here is to mix the leadership and the technology. And so you're actually doing that within the program. And so they don't just study transformation, they're actually living their own transformation, digital and responsible, throughout the program. Let me start with telling you a secret, all right? Almost every person who comes to do an MBA is out of some kind of frustration that their career is just not progressing as fast as they wanted it to. The LeadTech has been a very successful career booster, which is why so many participants or new participants are being referred from our recent graduates. I think we've never seen a program with higher referral rates than this one. we've really seen like these major shifts. Like we've seen participants shift careers from going from like auditing to strategy. We have multiple startups that are being launched. One recent one I can think of is somebody who created kind of like an Uber for airline spare parts, a digital platform for airline spare parts, or just kind of moving to these leadership roles where they're leading digital change in global companies. One recent participant I can think of who was at Google is a good example, went from tech to more leadership role. And so, if I think about kind of recent graduates, one woman who graduated from the healthcare sector, she was telling us how she really felt like LeadTech gave her the tools to become the kind of leader she aspired to be. She felt like she could blend her scientific expertise, which she's always had, but with this new confidence of being a leader in the domain and finding her voice. And that, I think, is ultimately what we're trying to do. Anyway, these stories and how we're seeing people move up and sometimes over to new jobs, new sectors, new positions. It's really the program is not about a diploma or a certificate. It's really about tangible results that do what people want. It's to boost their career. We're looking for somebody that has a minimum of 5 years experience. It's an executive MBA, so it's the LeadTech Global Executive MBA, so global, so basically from any geography. But we need the experience so that you can bring that into the classroom. Obviously relatively fluent in business English because that's the language of the program. Someone who is willing and able to travel, basically the world, because the program is over 3 separate weeks in Paris, 3 separate weeks in Barcelona, and 1 week in either Silicon Valley or Singapore. And I'd say especially the kind of person who is hungry to lead in a world shaped by technology. So somebody who is attracted to both leadership and technology or feels a weakness in one or both of those areas. So it's somebody who's not passively watching the world whiz by and new technologies go by and new promotions go by, but somebody who really wants to actively get ahead of the curve. We really welcome people from every industry. We have engineers, we have marketers, we have entrepreneurs, we have public sector employees, we have high-level CEOs in a range of industries, from manufacturing to service industries. And what unites them isn't really like a specific niche profile or persona, but it's more like a mindset. They're curious, they're ambitious, they want to learn new things, and they really have this desire to have an impact that is both profitable and positive for society. So for good and for profit. The first rule today is never stop learning. The technology doesn't stand still, and you have to keep learning in order to keep up. And that will be your competitive advantage, is mastering these new technologies as they emerge. The second thing is just as important. It's cultivate your human side. Empathy, communication, resilience, storytelling, because that's what allows you to lead others through this kind of growing fog of complexity. And finally, you need to look for opportunities, like the LeadTech program, I would say, that really push you out of your comfort zone and kind of force you to connect the dots between technology and leadership. That's where real transformation is happening. And that's where the business world is really accelerating towards. And so I would say, make sure you are the human in the loop of a technology-driven world. And if you're not, you can be easily left behind. I would say 3 different things. First, surprise, it's not just about technology. It's very much about values, sustainability, the circular economy. Participants also get certified in circular economy while they're here. We really believe leaders should know how to create businesses that are good for society and not just profitable. and that even this will help them make more profitable companies in the future if they know how to make it sustainable, for example. Second, I would say the community. We have participants every year from like 20 different countries and multiple industries. And so the whole networking, global networking approach, the making friends from around the world is really powerful. And a lot of people didn't expect it to be that important, but the lifelong friendships and the variety is something that most people are just not exposed to people in those geographies, in those sectors. Third, I would say, this is probably the most important, even though it goes beyond an MBA, it's just like an incredible life experience that I don't think any other MBA really offers. You get to spend 3 weeks in Paris, 3 weeks in Barcelona in 3 different seasons, which is quite special. You get to discover the innovation ecosystems of San Francisco and Singapore. So already on the life experience, it's really unique. And then I would just say, like, it's basically you learn, you live, and you laugh while you prepare the next big step in your career. So I would say, what's not to love?